Welcome to another episode of the Be Wise Podcast. I am your host, Chris Wright. So today we're going to get into the State of the Union address by Donald Trump, who absolutely crushed it. Absolutely crushed it. But before we get started, go ahead and mash that like and subscribe button, grow the channel, get the algorithm going. If you like me, you know they'll like me too. You know what I'm talking about. But look, let's get into it. Let's lean in. All right, we have to talk about not last night, the State of the Union address a couple of nights ago. And I'm just going to give you like a 30,000 foot view. And then we're going to go through it bit by bit, because there are some clips that I have to play for you that are just outrageous. They're embarrassing. I didn't know what I was watching. And it was just incredible. I mean, that was not a speech, but it was more a mirror. And it was, if you were watching carefully, and not through like a Twitter sewer or like a cable news spin room, that actually, I can't even talk. But you should have saw something that should petrify every Democratic strategist in the country. Let's be real. If you are a Democrat voter, you had to be sitting there asking yourself, who am I actually standing with? Who are these people? The damage was done by the president. The damage was done by the people who refused to stand or clap for the most obvious pro-American things you've ever heard. It was just outrageous.
You should be ashamed of yourself. Stand up and show your support. The first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens. You should be ashamed of yourself not standing up. You should be ashamed of yourself. That is why I'm also asking you to end deadly sanctuary cities that protect the criminals and enact serious penalties for public officials who block the removal of criminal aliens. In many cases, drug lords, murderers all over our country, they're blocking the removal of these people out of our country, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
Embarrassing. Who are these people? Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, have some respect. Respect your president. If you don't want to respect Donald Trump, great, but you got to respect the State of the Union address. You need to respect the office of the president. And you're thugs. You were thugs out there. And let's be real, this was the best speech Donald Trump has probably given. It was long, but it was engaging. It was entertaining the whole time. And he was just setting it straight. It was the best speech, period. And you want to talk about a mic drop? Go back and watch him walking out. The guy looked 20 years younger. He looked like he was about 60, maybe late 50s. He walked in strong. He was disciplined. And for the first time in a long time, he wasn't on the defense. He came out punching. It was incredible. And usually he's saying things like, it's going to be great. Last night, he didn't have to. He was on the offensive. He was commanding. He was the president of the United States, and he knew it. You know, he had some humor that actually landed. The whole hockey team bit, pure gold. You know, it was human. It was light. It was confident. It was confident. Like I said, he was telling the Democrats, you are crazy.
He stands up. These people are crazy. How do you not stand? How do you not stand? That's the first time I've ever seen them get up. And actually, not all of them did get up. They're crazy. They stood up for that. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Did Nancy Pelosi stand up if she was here? Doubt it. Pass the Stop Insider Trading Act without delay. We're lucky we have a country. With people like this, Democrats are destroying our country, but we've stopped it just in the nick of time. First duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens. You should be ashamed of yourself not standing up. You should be ashamed of yourself. They're blocking the removal of these people out of our country, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
Absolute genius. It was gold. But, you know, that's not even the real story. The story was the Democrats. I mean, let's be honest. Imagine being so partisan that you can't stand up for the U.S. hockey team. I mean, what is happening? I was quite embarrassed. So there was even a muted response for the World War II veteran. Just little polite golf claps for the Coast Guard rescue mission. But then, like, it was a very, very powerful moment. And then, like I said, Trump said, stand if you agree. The first job of government is to protect the American citizens and not foreign citizens. They didn't stand. We know who they are. Like, this is the easiest applause line in the history of politics. You don't even have to think. Stand up if you agree that the first job of the government is to protect American citizens and not foreign citizens. Layup. If you were playing basketball, layup. Just stand up. Even if you don't believe it, even if you don't agree with it, just stand up. But what did we see? We saw hesitation. We saw arms folded, people looking at the floor, Chuck Schumer looking down in his glasses. Even if you don't believe it, you got to stand up. Because for the rest of time, we're going to remember this day. One of the most popular statements at a State of the Union address is Ronald Reagan saying, Gorbachev, tear down that wall. This is going to be right up there with that. Because do you know how bad it looks? You don't damage your opponent when you just sit there looking like an idiot. You damage your brand. You damage your party. You damage everything you stand for. And the Democrats' brand last night was the optics. It looked bad. And then Donald Trump talked about the border. That section of the speech was devastating because you had the angel mom there talking about the story of Delilah, the little girl in the first grade kissing her father before being crushed by an 18-wheeler driven by an illegal immigrant. And then Trump called for Delilah's Law to deny commercial licenses to illegal immigrants. And they just sit there. They didn't stand, they didn't applaud, they did nothing. You can't clap for removing dangerous rapists and criminals? Look, we can argue about quotas all day. We can debate asylum reform, but when you can't stand for deporting violent criminals, that's not a strategy. That's moral confusion. Average Americans looked at that and asked, do these people actually hate this country? Then he talked about, billionaires. Let's talk about the money. They introduced Michael Dell, who voluntarily gave $6 billion to help the nation's children. $6 billion. And the Democrats just sat there. No applause, no standing. These are the same people who scream about like taxing the rich and crushing billionaires. They'll cheer for the IRS taking money by force, but they can't applaud a man who gives it away. $6 billion for free to help kids. That tells you everything that you need to know. No applause for tax on tips. No applause for 401k being up $30,000. No applause for paying the lowest drug prices in the world. They offered nothing but angry insults and F ice button pens. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, optics matter. On one side, you had a patriotic, high energy vision for the future. On the other side, you had Chuck Schumer looking tired, a congressman visibly sleeping, and people screaming, "You kill Americans," from the floor. Listen, when Joe Wilson yelled at Obama, "You lie," I thought that was the low. I thought that was a political, congressional State of the Union low. You lie? I'll take that today. Screaming, "You kill Americans," to the President of the United States, it hurt my heart. The American people, they weren't watching like this political operative last night. They were watching like parents. And parents know instinctively that if you can't stand up for protecting citizens, something is broken. And it's sad. Chop it up in the comments. Let me know what you think, how you feel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.